In this scenario, I am going to talk about one of the other forms of the advanced VPN, central service and simple VPN. And also we will configure this scenario step by step. This means that when I configured R1, you need to stop the video. After that, configuring R1, then after that I'm going to configure R2. You need to stop the video, configuring R2, and step by step we can complete the scenario. First, the things that we should talk about that is that what is the central service and simple VPN, one of the advanced VPN form that we can configure it. Look at this scenario. In this scenario, again, we have one service provider. In this service provider, we are using ISIS as the IGP, and also this service provider's AS number is 65,000. And also we need to configure eBGP between the PE and CEs. And finally, we have one loopback 0 interface from this range on the PE routers. And also the R11 is our route reflector for VPN v4. We will configure this scenario and you will learn about the detail of the configuration of service provider. And also I know that you learned about the configuration of this type of service providers in the previous videos, but here we are repeating the configuration and we will learn better and better. After that, we have three customers. The first customer is customer red. Look at here, customer red again, or customer A, has three sites: site 1, site 2, and site 3. You know that the site 3 is headquarter, and site 1 and site 2 are branches. Also, we have another customer, customer B, or customer blue, and you can see that the customer blue again has three sites: site 1, site 2, and site 3. Site 3 is our headquarter, and also site 1 and site 2 are branches of the customer B. Also here, now we have one new customer or one new service. We call it central service, okay? This is not a normal customer. This is a central service. For example, maybe this is the central bank. And for example, here we have red bank and also blue bank, okay? Red bank has three sites. The first is site 3 is a headquarter of the red bank and the branch 1 and branch 2 of red bank. And also we have another headquarter in the blue bank, and also we have two branches in the blue bank, and also we have one central bank. And you know that all of the headquarters of different banks need to have connectivity to the central bank. The reason that we are configuring this central service is that giving a service, any service, to the other, for example, VPNs. Look at here. The final goal of this scenario is that the customer red sites should have reachability to each other, and customer blue or customer B sites should have reachability to each other. And finally, we need to have connectivity between the headquarters of the red customer and blue customer to only a central service. We don't want to have connectivity between the headquarter of the red customer to the blue customer. We don't have to connectivity between the headquarter of the red customer and also headquarter of the blue customer to only central service. This means that when we are using the ping command from the VPC5 to VPC6, we expect that we don't have connectivity. But when we send traffic from VPC5 to this server or from VPC6 to this server, we have connectivity. This is the central service and simple VPN. Simple VPN is the VPN between the branches and headquarters of one customer, for example, customer red or customer blue. And central services means we have connectivity with central service, for example, between the headquarter of two customer with the central service. You know that we don't want to have connectivity from the one of the branches of the customer A or customer B, for example, site 1 or site 2 of customer A and customer B, to the central service. Only we need to have connectivity between the headquarters of two company to the central service. The first thing that we should configure is the VRF's design or RDN RT's design. Here I'm going to show you another type of design. For example, starting with that, I'm going to use different RD for every VRF. You know that we need to configure RD for every VRF. Here for this VRF, the VRF A1, this is the VRF A1. Why? Because this is the site 1 of customer A. Let me to use this value 65,000 colon 11. 11 means the site 1 of customer 1. Okay, customer red, for example. RT import, again, let me to configure this as 65,000 colon 11. Look at here, we don't have any relevance between the RT import and RD, okay? But for easier understanding, I'm going to use the RT import equally with the RD 65,000 colon 11. And also, you know that we need to have connectivity between the site 1, okay, site 1 of customer A, and site 2 of customer A, and also site 3 of customer A. Because of that, let me to use in the RT export of the customer A site 3 the 65,000, okay, colon 11. You know that when we are configuring the RT export 65,000 colon 11, this means that the addresses of this VRF should be imported to the VRF A1, okay? Also in the customer A2 for the RT export, I'm going to use 65,000 colon 11, okay? With this configuration, because the RT export of the customer A2 and customer A3, VRF A2 and VRF A3 is equal with the RT import of the customer A1, we have connectivity between these three VRFs, and the VRF A2 and A3 can import their addresses to the VRF A1, okay? And then we need to configure the, for example, customer A3. Let me to configure customer A3 or customer A2 first. RD for customer A2 can be configured as 65,000, okay, the AS number, colon 12. You know that this is my design. Maybe you design with another values, okay? 65,000, then 12. 12 means the customer 1, site 2, okay? And then RT import can be configured with exactly same value, 65,000, 12 means the customer 1, site 2, okay? You know that we want to importing the customer A3 and A1's addresses to the customer A2, okay? Because of that, let me use in RT export of the customer A1 exactly the same values that we configured on the RT import of the customer A2, 65,000, 1, 2, okay? Because here we have the same value between the configured in the RT export of customer A1 and the RT import of customer A2, the roots of the customer A1 should be injected to the customer A2. Also, in the customer A3, okay, because we need to inject the roots of the customer A3 to customer A2, okay, we can configure another RT export. You know that we can configure multiple RT export. For example, here we can configure 65,000, 1, 2. This means that the roots of the VRF A3 now should be injected to both VRF A1 and VRF A2. And finally, we can configure the customer A3. In customer A3, let me to use the RT of the 65,013. This means that the site 3 of customer 1, okay? For RT import, also I'm using the same value, 65,013. This means that every VRF that needs to inject its roots to the VRF A3 should send the addresses with the RT export of the 65,013, the site 3 of customer 1. Because of that, in the customer A site 1, let me to configure RT export as 65,000, okay, colon 13, means the addresses of this VRF should be injected to the customer A site 2 and customer A site 3, because here we have the RTX export equal with the RT import of the customer A2 and also A3. You know that if one of the RT export that should be sent with the addresses of this VRF is equal with the RT import of other sites, the roots should be injected to the VRF, to that VRF, okay? This is the configuration of the RT export of customer A site 1, and also we need to configure the next RT export in the customer A2 2 because we want to importing the customer A2's routes or